Welcome to the Windy City's Finest on Location with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac, he's Perry, and this is
Shelley McGarry with Maple Fusion.
great. Yeah, I'm so excited to learn about your artistic practice and what you're up to, and I think we kind of know based on what's behind us. But first, we're going to do a segment we kind of call just icebreakers, getting to know you and play a few little games. So to start, we've got since we are in Lethbridge, we have some Lethbridge trivia. And I think you know a lot about Canadian history and stuff, so I feel like you'd be a history person. So these are very simple questions because we are not history majors. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's do this one. So we go way back to Lethbridge starting as a city as we know it. So Lethbridge is named after which person? A, Sir Alexander Galt's niece. B, William Lethbridge, the first president of the Northwestern Coal and Navigation Company. C, is it named after the High Level Bridge? Or D, a bridge in North Yorkshire, London?
Oh my gosh.
So many things.
So I also do comedy. So I probably wouldn't pick B.
No?
No, I would pick another one, but maybe I should go with B instead. What do you think?
Yeah, it's B, William Lethbridge.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so now you have to ask me a question. Perry has prepared some secret questions that I don't know about.
Oh, he has.
So hit me with the first one, Shelley.
Okay, Mac. Perry did Shakespeare in the Park in Lethbridge for how many years? A, 1 year, B, 2 years, C, 3 years, D, 5 years.
Okay, well, based on my knowledge of Perry and his other questions, a lot of times it's always 1. So I'm going to go with 1.
And do we have sound effects here? Because I would have to go, I'm sorry.
No.
It's 3.
3. He's been in 3 productions.
3 productions.
Too many. All right.
Yeah,
all right. Great. That's good. Good to know. All right, we're done our trivia questions.
Okay.
Yeah, the next one, our game is called This or That. And we just ask simple questions out of this hat. So coffee or tea, dogs or cats, things like that.
Okay.
And we'll both answer. I will do the first one. Plan ahead or be spontaneous.
Oh, that's a tough one. Depends what you're doing, but I would have to go with plan ahead.
Yeah, you're a planner. Yeah, I think overall, again, depends on what you're doing. I would say as well. I like to plan what's going on. Yeah. All right. You can ask me a question.
Okay. Well, and I could ask a question as I'm pulling one. Whose hat? That's pretty
This
nifty.
is my top hat. Yes.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. That's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool. Okay. Oh, eclectic or modern?
I would say overall modern. Yes, that's kind of my style, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. You?
I would have to go with eclectic. Yeah, I really would.
Okay.
Even though I didn't have the motto on the flag.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And what is that like with your style of interior design or other things? Or
My entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, my entire life.
Okay. A little more
and I always think I fuse the old with the new.
Okay.
So yeah, but every aspect of my life, I think pretty eclectic.
Okay, that's
it's more
great.
fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, that's great. Now we know a little more about each other.
Awesome.
Yeah, but then we're gonna go a little deeper with our Jenga game.
Oh dear.
Our Tumbling Towers game.
Okay.
So just to refresh you on the we'll call the rules of this game. So so this one you just pull out a tile. Technically, you can't take from the top 3. But I will just, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to take this one because I know it's loose. And then you're going to put it on top. And then, each tile has a corresponding number. And then we ask a question based on the number. So, and the tower has only ever fallen once, and it was my fault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't feel bad if it falls.
If it falls, okay.
It's happened before. That's what they tell me.
Okay.
All right. So I guess I will go first, I guess. Or wait, no, I guess I did the last question. Why don't you go first? So give it a try.
Oh gosh, I've never played this before. And you can't do the top 3. Okay, I'll come down to.
And you feel free to just feel it out.
Oh.
Because
okay, it looks like a few.
Oh, that one looks good.
Okay, hang on here. And you can't touch other.
Yeah, you can only use one hand.
Oh.
Number 40.
Number 40. And then I put it on top, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this question. If money was no obstacle, what would you do?
What would I
Yeah.
do? Oh, wowzers. Well, it may, seriously, I would probably rent, first of all, I would rent a big, massive series of buses, and I would go organize and pick up all the individuals in Lethbridge that have special needs and take them to a big, massive, blow-up, dress-up party like you wouldn't believe. That would be my number one first thing. It truly has nothing to do with tariffs, but I wouldn't fly anywhere. I'd probably take those buses and do Canada.
Cross Canada trip?
Yeah.
With the same group or?
No, I think it'd just be my daughter and I. I think that's enough.
Yeah. That sounds like a great thing. That's an amazing answer. I love that. It really sounds like a fun time. I'd love to go to that party.
Oh, good. So if it happens, I'll invite
let me
you.
know. Yeah.
So do you get to answer the same question?
Yeah. So if money
Okay.
was no obstacle for me, I don't know, the first thing that came to mind was just like similar to your Canada thing. I think just more traveling. I'd like to see more of the world. So yeah, if money was no object, I'd probably hit the road and maybe I wouldn't come back maybe. So see the world.
There you go.
Yeah. Maybe do a dress-up party while I'm
On the way.
Yeah. Nice. Great. All right. Great. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we
it.
have for
Okay.
this segment. This has been the Windy City's Finest On Location with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac. He's Perry. And this is
Shelley K from Maple Fusion.
All right. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome once again to the Windy City's Finest On Location with Mac and Perry. He's Mac, I'm Perry, and this is
Shelley K with Maple Fusion.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting us into your studio, into your space, and for just spending the time and energy with us. I'm super looking forward to this segment, and we're going to dive into your artistic practice and your journey so far. And I think I'll just open it wide open. And could you just tell us what it is you do?
Oh, wow.
If that's a small question.
Well, I can give you a short answer and then
Sure.
expound.
Yeah.
I sing Canadian history.
That is very concise. Oh my gosh. So has that always been the case or has that evolved? Tell me about the journey towards that incredibly succinct answer. Oh my gosh.
Well, history has always interested me. It has been just phenomenal. And music has always been a part of my life. So in doing oral histories in particular and being an oral historian and doing work in the environments of Cottonwood House Historic Site or Heritage Park at Calgary. I've done work with them as well. I mean, that's what most people can associate with. But then sitting down and talking to our seniors, people from other countries, finding their histories out, that is so exciting. And to me, so if we take the other hand, is music is a universal language. So if it's someone from another country, another, I was going to say dimension, well, possibly, but another time, another heritage, there's always, it seems, an aspect to music. And when people hear that I'm a musician, they have a story. And it may not be that they're a musician, but it may be, oh, do you know, when I was a little girl back in the country and back in decades ago, and they will tell me a story about music. That opens up conversations where other things might not. So what I've tried to do is always sing. I'm a proud Canadian, very proud Canadian.
Yes.
And so singing Canadian history and finding people's history within the land that we live in is very important to me.
Yeah, I love this idea of like the universal nature of like that we all share a history, like either if it's based on where we are, and then also just the universal nature of music and combining those two things. What else can you tell me about that?
Oh my goodness!
I know it's a wide question, but yeah.
That's huge. That isn't a 3-word answer.
No.
It really isn't. Often I will be having conversations with seniors because to me intergenerational is you know, as the clock keeps ticking for each of us, we all are going to be at that senior place. You know, so I added a second senior on there. And so intergenerationally, how do we get the history of who we are and those stories forward? So I do spend a fair bit of time on both ends of the scale of people, smaller children and teaching music, or older folk and singing music, and so having a chat with them. And again, conversations are about music. And I remember my grandmother's lullaby rocking me to sleep. Oh, I'll say, could you sing a little bit for me? And even people that have dementia or Alzheimer's, and you probably know this, but it's just, that's Goosebumps City, is they will just start to sing, whereas they may not remember what they had for breakfast. And yet they will remember their grandmother's melody that rocked them to sleep. And those are things to me that are so important that their grandchildren know. And that story is an exact example of sharing at the end of, we're in lockdown in an Alzheimer's section, and I was singing, and there was someone that was just very interested, and they didn't want it in the music, but they didn't want to talk afterwards. And when I said something and the family member was helping them out, they started talking about their grandmother and this lullaby. And all of a sudden they broke out singing.
Wow.
And here's this little grandchild that's also never heard the song. And those moments to me are profound. That's the piece that, you know, people that say, where were you in 1967, for example? And you may not have ever been anywhere, but did you ever hear of Bobby Jimby and his centennial song for Canada? And most people say, yeah, I heard that song. And yet that was poignant for people in 1967. That was a huge song. So what else was throughout history? You know, the Coca-Cola song. You know, all of these types of things that there's times and places. Who's the famous, oh, this is back to trivia, but who is the famous athlete, Terry Fox?
Oh, yeah.
And cancer and the songs around him. Have you heard of any of his songs?
I cannot say that I have.
And they're profound.
Yeah.
So those are Canadian history pieces that I want to share as much as I can with people. And I have history of my family and generations of music that I would like to share too.
Sounds like kind of like a conduit for all these different moments in time, and you're kind of channeling it through yourself and through your artistry. And I'm a little bit more curious about working, with older folks and maybe people with stuff like Alzheimer's. When did that start for you? Like, has that always been a part of your journey, or like, what was the moment where you were like, this, I need to do this? Yeah.
I seriously tell you that. I was 6 years old.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And, you know, we all have those moments. And this was profound because I was terrified. And it wasn't even music. But do you remember or have you ever seen the old Reader's Digest they were like a little magazine, and they had sorry.
No, you're good.
And they came out once a month.
Okay. Reader's Digest sounds familiar, but I cannot say that I have seen. Yeah.
That's why I said, did you ever see them?
Right.
And they were short stories. So a story that could be read in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And they'd come out once a month. And it was one of the things when I was 6 years old, the Reader's Digest came out. I really shouldn't put that on here because then you can figure out my age.
Oh, whatever.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And we got these once a month. And my father packed me up with a Reader's Digest book. And we were going for a little walk in Calgary. And we walked up to this seniors residence. And I'm thinking, oh, what are we doing here? Oh, wow, isn't this exciting?
Right.
And I could read very well. And I knew that I should have known that I would aspire to be in acting and music and so on. And reading was my thing. We went in the door, and my dad talked to someone, and he turned around and he went home, and he left me there with my Reader's Digest in hand, and a nurse, I assume, took me into a room and sat me down in a chair and said, oh, here's someone that never gets, I'll never forget this, never gets visitors. I'm sure she would love to hear a story. So two things I'm hearing: never gets visitors. How can that be?
Right.
I just had no idea. But secondly, oh, okay, I can read. And I opened up the book and I read the story. And when I looked up, there were tears running down her face. And I went room to room to room to room to room. And it was phenomenal. And that wasn't music, but it was a story, and it taught me that, one, we all know we're all going to get old. And I didn't know that at age 6.
Right.
But it taught me humility and compassion. And wow, I think what really stayed with me is this woman had no visitors. And those were the rooms. I went to the same rooms each time I went. They never had visitors. So that actually is my moment of why. And then as a youth, I always would go in and perform music at seniors' homes. It was, it was for groups of people, not individuals like that again. But that was my moment.
That is incredible, and at such a young age too. And I love that it was like both scary, but there's that idea of like, if you're scared, it means that you care. So if we were to have all that richness in mind and kind of fast forward here, what could you tell me about your artistic practice now? Like, is it very much still on those like same train tracks, or are there different things that you've kind of expanded into? Where are you at now, having got that lovely backstory?
Well, I had a very rich musical career and toured Southern Alberta, playing in groups and bands. It's just been, and theater, musical theater and productions. And so it was very one-sided, I guess one could say. But yes, it's very much on that same track, but there's an added car to the train, which again, at the age of 6, my mom had friends that had 2 daughters, and surprisingly, they had a brother, I beg your pardon, that was younger with Down syndrome. And so I got to know him, and I got to know many other individuals, and had quite compassion because of all of this. And music seemed to connect with people with special needs. And so that was as a teen and young adult. And my daughter, who's 32, was born with Down syndrome. So that's the added train or car on my train. And so now, yes, I still do seniors. That is, and intergenerational. But so the answer that Mac had asked about if I had the money, I do sing at De Capo, for example, here in Lethbridge, and it's just the most amazing experience. Like, it's just so fun. Many people are scared to go, but we have fun. They just love music, and Chelsea is the star of the event, and she fits in with everyone, and we just, so the train is very much there. Sounds of our history, it's still, so history makes us who we are. So whether it is someone with special needs, senior, children, we all have a story to tell. And I just would like everyone, no matter what age you are, where did you come from, and what did you bring with you, and what is your culture, and how does that make your life and who you are special? And I just love hearing other people's stories.
I think that's so special, as like, in many ways, as a storyteller, that your focus really is on people who I think generally don't think they have a story to tell. But what I'm hearing is that you're like, everybody's got a story.
They do.
What can you tell me about like parsing that out for people, or creating that space or that vibe for people to like share their story.
Well, I'm a chatty Cathy.
Right.
Okay, you
What?
noticed that, right?
Yes.
And so for my story hive,
Mhm.
sounds of our history, and I'm talking it up and telling people about it, and people, oh, I don't have music in my family history anywhere. I only taught dance when I was 25. Really? You don't have music in your history? The story comes out. A gentleman that is at a old tool antique festival, and he's hearing me play music, and he comes up and he says, I'd love to tell you my story about music, and it has to do with all these tools. And I'm thinking, okay, this is really cool. And so the vibe of music, how would someone with tools know to come up to me and say, I'd like to talk to you about my life history? And it's because it's music. There's music somewhere in, I think, everybody's family. I have yet to find someone that can't say a distant relative, or it could even be a bad thing. Do you know my mom put me in band in grade 7 and it was the biggest disaster ever?
Right. Oh wow. Yeah, no. So it sounds like it's just like it's what you do, and people seem to be able to see that. It's like very transparent and on the surface, it sounds like. Would that be accurate? Yeah.
It is. It is.
I'm just curious, how have you changed through your art, or is it all one big thing for you?
Well, in many ways, it is one big path.
Yeah.
But the path has woven and created my life. Music has taken me everywhere. It really and truly has. It's taken me in times of grief. It's taken me in highs. It's taken me on vacations, and you're sitting in Mexico and somebody drops a guitar in your lap because it's funny and they put a hat on you. And so you start playing.
You're used to having hats
Yeah,
and guitars.
I am. And so it's just, but I think as life just takes you and creates you through, I've shuffled and changed from being 17 and being in Sing Out Calgary and touring Alberta and doing choreography and music and so on, to now what I'm doing is music. You shuffle and you change, just like you do in any aspect of your life. You may be into Star Trek, just because we're in Vulcan, Alberta the other day, I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
You may be into Star Trek today, and tomorrow you're into something else.
Sure.
Yeah, something. And so I don't think it's so much changed me as the music has grown with me, and as changes happen, my music happens. Is that answer okay?
I mean, what I'm getting from that is just that idea of like, your artistic practice has been able to adapt with you and your life and where you've gone. And I think that's beautiful. And a beautiful note to end on, if that's accurate. I don't know. But
It is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have for this segment. Thank you so much for your insight and time and energy.
Thank you so much. This has been so enjoyable, and I really appreciate being able to share. Thank you.
No, thank you. This has been the Windy City's Finest, On Location with Mac and Perry. He's Mac, I'm Perry, and this is
Shelley K with Maple Fusion.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Windy City's Finest, On Location with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac, he's Perry, and this is
Shelley K from Maple Fusion.
All right, Shelley. So we are showcasing what you're all about, and we learned about the tickle trunk. And so we thought, hey, I got inside the tickle trunk and we just pulled some stuff out. We're going to have some fun. So
we are.
Yeah. Tell me, we're going to go on a little journey. Where are we going to go?
Well, I sing Canadian history, so that's coast to coast. And I think where we'll go first of all is to Newfoundland. Usually as I do performances, I kind of, do the journey as we go, but you just look so fine as a pirate. Right. And of course there's the North Saskatchewan pirate, but we'll keep on going and we'll head on down to Newfoundland. So I'm squid jigging, And there's a good old-fashioned song about squid jigging, which we won't do today.
Okay.
But I have a couple of quirky instruments that we will talk about. Oates, did yours fell apart already?
I already broke my stick.
Oh my
boy.
goodness. Okay. So these are called ugly sticks. And we should close their ears so that they don't hear that they're ugly. But an ugly stick is truly a Newfoundlander. You've heard of kitchen parties?
I have.
Okay. Well, if you went to a kitchen party, you may not have the hat on, but you would definitely have an ugly stick. And an ugly stick is pretty basic. In the old days, it could have just an old tomato soup or tomato juice can on top. Instead of the mop and the hair, it would have, these would be beer. Mm-hmm. And you always have a boot at the bottom. And they're attached to a pole, and then you have a banging stick. Now, these ones, you'll also find usually a mop upside down. And this one has little earrings that are extras. Mm-hmm. Yours, oh, this is Princess Longhair. This is Princess Longhair. And yours is named Twitch. And Twitch is famous. Oh, absolutely. And if you give him a good shake, there you see, listen to the music you can get out of that.
He's famous.
This is an instrument, a percussion instrument from a band. So if you kind of whack it on the top, you can get different sounds. That's it. And then I've given you a screw there. Whoa. So how these work is just exactly that. We keep a beat, and if we were singing a song, there we go. And you just keep the beat to the song. Typically, as a lot of the music from Newfoundland is Irish. Could be a bit of Scottish for you there too, but it's just usually, and you're just having a gay old time playing your instrument. There we go.
Nice, so that's lovely.
And I will tell you that just a little secret, if you happen to be traveling, because you do Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, if you stop in at Tabor, there happens to be a mayor in Tabor that knows how to play a pretty mean ugly stick.
Okay.
You must stop in and say hello to him and ask him how his ugly stick playing is. He's pretty darn good. He plays Twitch a lot.
Okay, and you said Twitch was famous. What makes him famous?
What makes him famous? Just he is.
He's famous.
He's just famous.
Great.
And I don't, that's a really good question. I don't know. When I go to shows, he's the one that everybody wants to play. Okay. Yeah. Nice. So this, and you put your stick into the boot. Okay. And hook it in amongst, that's it. And then you put your ugly stick away.
Right.
Yeah. So that's Newfoundland.
There we go. We went to Newfoundland.
There you go. And those are our instruments from Newfoundland. Yep. Our next thing that I'd like to show you, and you selected this puppet from the back. Mm-hmm. And should I tell about Gus, or would you like to tell about
No, you go ahead. Tell about Gus.
Well, I have a puppet family. And they go many, many different places. Now, Gus isn't quite finished yet. He's going to have a kilt, and it's going to be an Alberta kilt. But if we take a look at his hat, it is the Canadian tartan. So Gus is very sporting on that. But Gus is short for Angus, who is Scottish.
He's Scottish. Look at that. My name is Gus. I'm from Scotland.
And this fellow here, he was designed and made by a person that has neurodiversities, autism. He's losing his clothes here. There we go. And his name is Rusty Grumplesnoot. And so, how are you?
I'm great, Rusty. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too. There we go. So ventriloquism is always interesting to do. And there's a couple of sounds that are really bad. So first of all, let's try something that's maybe a little bit easier. And when you're doing ventriloquism, they just to start out, there's many things to learn. But try to keep your mouth in a smile and keep your mouth just solid and say hello.
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 Hello. That's not too bad.
No, it's not. Hello.
I don't think I can do the Scottish accent, but hello.
And so there's other sounds that are not so good. Things like B. The boy had a basketball.
The boy had a basketball.
And now try saying it with your lips like this. The boy had a basketball.
Oh, I had a basketball. Yeah, that is difficult.
And so you have to go and sit in front of a mirror and look at yourself. But the other part is to make sure that you remember to have your puppet moving when you do it too. So I'll just go with one sound, the B that we did. You try to put a bit of a D to it, a D. And so it will evolve over time. So instead of the boy, and your lips are going, the boy had a basketball.
Oh, I had a basketball.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo-hoo!
Oh, yes.
Oh, he's pretty good. Oh, you are. You're very good.
Thank you.
All right. Now this is Rip. And Rip, I keep thinking I should have some kind of a contest because I don't know his last name, but I don't know also if he looks tough enough to be, a drummer. But he's got his cymbals, he's got his music and his maple flag up here. And so, there's good old Rip. I have a little drum set, actually.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
I actually do. And so his hand piece will be his drumstick for movement of his hand as well. And there we go. So that's good old Rip.
And when you're doing these, I guess we call them performances, do you have like the audience members using the puppets at all?
No, actually, what I do is I usually use them individually because it takes the magic out of the puppets. If you do, I've got I don't have one handy. I've got a couple of fluff puppets that you would buy at a store, a cat and a beaver. And they're fur and it's a puppet that anybody can just buy. But because these people are the family, they don't usually, other than Gus, if you like another career, I think you did really good with Gus. But it's also inside the mouths and how they operate and so on is something that it's like a magician. You don't give your secrets away, so to speak. So, but this fellow here, because he's blue, he attracts. I mean, they all kind of attract a certain attention, but they can be utilized to open up dialogues as well, and all ages love it. Not just kids, adults are good with it, and that's where I want to have Rip, and particularly as a character that might, not that I'd take Rip into a bar because I don't think he has his ID with him, but for adults that are in that age group from seniors to kids, but right in that middle piece, how do you attract them as well? And then this fella here, he's CC, and so he's kind of our conscientious Canadian, and CC, I think, is going to, I haven't got a voice yet for CC because there's some things I want to work out with him. He needs a story. Everybody needs a storyline. It's like Nikki the beaver. She's come from England. She lives in Grassy Lake. She floated down the river on a raft to Lethbridge. I don't have that story yet for CC. It just hasn't resonated. And his voice will come from the story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. It's great to meet the family of puppets.
The
yeah.
family of puppets.
Yeah, I
Well,
think- yeah.
and old Angus there, he definitely needs to have himself some
Kilt.
kind of trousers. Am I
Mm.
saying no? That's Irish. Trousers? No.
Yeah.
How would you say trousers in?
How would I say trousers?
Ah,
There we go,
that's it.
trousers.
Trousers.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is all the time we have. We've met the family. Yeah. This has been the Windy City's Finest on location with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac. He's Perry, and this is
Shelley K from Maple Fusion.
All right, thanks so much for tuning in.
It's Mac and Perry in the place.
Da-na-na-na,
Mac and Perry.
Go live to create.
Da-na-na-na, Mac and Perry invite you to stay.